Per il gruppo ALDE, 2 minuti. A lei la parola.
Thank you, Chair, Madam Vice President. First of all, congratulations on Colombia. I'll be happy here to be in a few months' time, even at midnight, to congratulate you also on Syria. I don't want to be redundant because a lot of that you have said would be my conclusions, having read through the really wide file in the last couple of days, but let me make a few words anyway. First of all, it's clear that the 5 bloody years of a very bloody war has its influence, has its impact. It has its impact primarily, of course, on the Syrians, but it has and it can be felt across the world. I think we can see the devastating consequences of the Daesh terrorist attacks on the French, on the Russians, on Turks, Lebanese, Saudis, just to mention some of them. I think that the last year was a wake-up call for the Europeans, in fact, in particular. The Syrian war is clearly reshaping politics, I would say, across the continent, especially as the response to a surge of the Syrian refugees has called, in fact, even the European Union's raison d'être into question. And the November's terrorist attacks in Paris, I think they meant in reality that the threat is driving the day-to-day concerns across the continent. I very much believe that we will progress in Geneva. We can't fail, but there are 4 points which I think are preconditions. For the sake of time, I would exceptionally read them out. First, all sides, including the Assad regime, Russia and Iran, abide by the UN Security Council Resolution 2254, fulfill its demand to immediately cease military attacks against civilians and to allow humanitarian aid across Syria to help all people in need, including the besieged areas. Of course, Madaya has to be mentioned among the first. Any political situation is hardly imaginable without concrete humanitarian improvements for the people in Syria. 2, I will be brief now. The talks have a clear agenda and deliver a real political transition towards a non-sectarian inclusive governance without Assad. 10 seconds, Madam Chairman. The EU step up its effort on the international scene and get all the other regional and global powers to respect the agreements made and to constructively back this process, finally de-escalating the broader war in Syria. This is a prerequisite for any effective campaign against the Islamic State. No military strategy against the group that is detached from the wider Syrian dynamics will be effective, as many of the key actors need to defeat ISIS have their own priorities. I wish you all the luck, and of course I'm happy that the Czech embassy in Syria, I think being now the last EU embassy, will be providing a helping hand on the humanitarian side especially, and the infrastructure we have in place. Thank you.
Thanks. I hope you keep on the given time because we are very late and it was almost 1 minute more than promised before. But the next one will be Mr. Hardy-Gotsky.
Αγαπητή κυρία Mogherini, δεν ξέρω πραγματικά αν υπάρχει